lads, welcome to the Friday Waffle. Blimey, I feel like I'm getting interrogated. I've got a light at the back, obviously, shining onto me because, I don't know what the time is, it's about 9 o'clock at night, and the light in this room is a bit pants, and so I was basically basking in complete darkness. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short, guys. I'm absolutely knackered. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm feeling fine, but I just feel tired all the time. I've been really tired all this week. I don't know whether it's to do with the weather. The weather up in Scotland, in fact, I think the weather in the UK this week has just been absolutely abysmal. It's supposed to be summertime, and the amount of rain we have had up here has just been nonsense. We've been getting flooding all over the place. Apparently Edinburgh Airport had 2 metres of water at one point. So yeah, no idea what's going on with the weather. You generally find we get better weather in September, October. So I really think what they need to do is recalibrate the weather and move the months forward. So this should really be, April, and basically means that when we get to October, that can be June, something like that. So anyway, how the hell are you? I'm okay. For a busy week at work, I was doing a training course for 3 days. So I've not had much time gaming wise. I haven't been doing an awful lot, but I'll tell you what I have been doing, and I know you'll not be aware of it. I have been really busy making videos. I've got about maybe 3 or 4 stacked up, ready to go. In fact, probably more than that. But more importantly, I've done a couple of Blimey It's Onlys. Now I did, if you follow my Main Meister channel on Facebook, I did put a little kind of teaser. I was very, very fortunate to have a really good interview with Mr. Sean Southern and Andrew Morris of Magnetic Fields. I spoke to both these guys on, was it Tuesday I think it was? So I've got the video ready to go. I'm trying to time it right. I don't want to spoil you guys too much. I certainly don't want to go putting out too many videos. I have been putting out videos on a regular basis. So that one will probably come out next week. And I've also got a really good collaboration video coming out, which I recorded with Lacosa. Now, if anybody's not familiar with Lacosa, he's one of the guys. I watch his channel, he watches my channel. He actually reminds me of myself. Maybe it's to do, we're both similar ages and we're both a bit grouchy. So yeah, we've got a video that we recorded, and I suspect it's probably going to get a lot of thumbs down because, yeah, you'll see. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but that's probably going to come out. That'll definitely come out next week as well, and I'll also be putting out the Magnetic Fields interview as well. So looking forward to doing that. So gaming wise, like I said, I haven't been playing a lot. There's only one game that I don't know. I've got no idea why I thought about it, and it's Resident Silvergun. Yeah, that's the name. It just didn't sound right. Now I was sure I had bought that on the Xbox 360, but when I went to check, apparently I hadn't. So I've downloaded it. It was £9.99. And I've got to say, what a wonderful game. It's one of these games on the Saturn that it goes for daft money. Now, as we all know, games that go for a lot of money, they're not necessarily good games. It's more about they're rare or whatever it is. But I've got to say, from following my brief foray into playing the game on the 360, I was really surprised at how good a game it was. In fact, I'm completely missing the point. I was playing it on my Saturn. Now, it's not an original I've got a copy, I don't mind admitting that. Don't have a problem downloading games for defunct systems, so I was playing it. That's exactly how it came about. I was having a play with my Sega Saturn last week, going through some classic shoot 'em ups, Dodonpachi, to name but a few, and I thought I'll give Resident Silvergun a go. I'd never really played it, up until that point, and I've got to say that I love the fact that you've got about 6 different weapons, and the point of the game is to try and establish what weapon you need for a particular baddie or a particular level. So it's quite a, as well as being a bullet hell shooter, it is quite strategical. You know, you've got to really think about what you're going to do. So yeah, I played it on the Sega Saturn, and then I remembered I had it on the Xbox 360, but it turns out I hadn't bought it on the Xbox 360, but I have now, if that makes any sense. So I was playing it on that as well, but it's a cracking game on both systems. I'm definitely going to play it for my shoot 'em ups you need to play. So apart from being a busy boy and making YouTube videos and playing a bit of Resident Silvergun, I've not really been playing very much. So, and I haven't really got anything to... Excuse me, I'm so ignorant. I'm sitting here yawning. I really need to get an early night. In fact, you know what, I should have actually recorded this tomorrow when I'm not quite so tired, but I've got a few bits and pieces on tomorrow, so I thought I'd better get the video out tonight. So, listen, what I'm going to do, guys, it is going to be a short video, unfortunately. I'm just tired. I'm just quite literally tired. Before I forget, I was having a right old moan about my subscriber numbers, about how I was finding it very difficult to get to 2,500. Now, in the space of a week, it has gone up to, is it 2,520, so I've managed to pick up about 20 odd subscribers in a week, which is just fantastic. I don't know where they came from. What I did notice though was Dan Wood and is it Ravi, I think it is, of the Retro Hour podcast. They very kindly gave me a bit of a shout out in their Sean Southern podcast, because Dan contacted me to find out if I could put him in touch with Sean Southern, because he was aware that I had actually interviewed the guy. So I set up, I gave Dan Sean's details, and they had a really good interview with Sean Southern. So yeah, thanks to Dan for a wee shout out. So I don't know whether that's possibly helped my channel as well, but if it hasn't, you know, thanks anyway, Dan. I do appreciate it, mate, and like I says, welcome to all the new guys to the channel. Hopefully you'll see enough that makes you want to kind of hang about. So without much further ado, guys, I'm just going to batter straight into questions, if I've got any from last week. So what's Colin Jones is saying here? I'll be in London for the next Friday Waffle doing the touristy thing. So my related question is, what do you think of the city? Personally, I think it's great to visit, but I would absolutely hate to live there. I'm kind of like yourself, Colin. I've been to London quite a few times. It's a busy city. I mean, it kind of reminds me of New York. You know, it's obviously one of the busiest cities in the world. Excuse me. And as far as visiting it is concerned, I mean, there's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot of things to do, and I do like going down to visit it, but I don't think I would really want to live there. I mean, to be fair, not many people do live in London. Nobody can afford to live in London unless you're a multi-millionaire. So most people do live in the outskirts. But yeah, it's a cracking city, beautiful city. I mean, I was down there, maybe 2 years ago, I think it was. A lovely city, but like yourself, Colin, I prefer coming up the road to Scotland. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for your question, Colin. Next up, Stephen. I can hardly even read this. Stephen Thornber. Thank you, Stephen. Question for the mighty Main Meister. Oh, bless you. Do you feel sorry for modern gamers? I mean, their choice is pretty much PC or console, and one PC is the same as the next. Back in the 1980s, there was a Spectrum, Commodore 64, Atari 800, BBC, Auric, Amstrad, Dragon, Texas, and others. They were all different and offered different things for the customer. Nowadays, the choice is minimal. I feel sorry for them. You know what, Stephen, you're absolutely right. I mean, games nowadays are amazing. You know, there's no two ways about it. Graphics, the complexity of games, how deep you can get into them. I mean, we were talking last week about Grand Theft Auto, how you can just, you know, you can jump into the game and you can it's like you know, I wouldn't say it's real life, but it's so open ended. But I think that's a huge part of the nostalgia for me, of why I like old systems. Modern games now, or not so much modern games, modern systems, it's all about the game and not about the system it's on. I mean, I don't for one second think that people my daughter's age are going to remember the system. They'll probably have. I mean, my daughter every now and again she'll want to she'll want me to load up some games that she played in the SNES. And I mean, bear in mind she's only 15 years old, so when she was playing the SNES it was only a few years ago, but she's got games that she did enjoy playing back in the day. I mean, she played, what was it, Sims 4, and occasionally she'll go back and play it. So she's already got nostalgia for the games. But what she doesn't have nostalgia for is the systems. I don't think she's really got any bearing on or interest in the system it was running on. But it's about the game. Whereas back, as you say, Stephen, back then, you know, there was a multitude of computers, and every computer had its strong points and its bad points. And so, you know, as a single system owner like I was, I mean, I was originally the Texas, and then I eventually got the C64. I loved my C64, but there was always games that I saw my pal, excuse me, I'm so rude, yawning. There was always games that I would see in my pal's Spectrum. You know, I'd go to the computer club, and there would be guys playing their Atari, they'd be playing Rescue and Fractalis. Some awesome games in Atari, and my C64 just wasn't as good when it came to certain games. So you were jealous, you thought, oh, I wish I could get that system, but back then it was never an option. You were never ever going to own more than one system. Most people couldn't, I certainly couldn't afford it. As I've said before, if I wanted to get a new system, I would have to trade in my old system and go and get the new one. That's just the way it was back in the 80s. So yeah, do I feel sorry for gamers? I don't know if saying feel sorry is maybe the right terminology to use, Stephen. I mean, I don't think kids now would look back at what I came through or you and I came through. I don't think they'd look back and be jealous. But having lived through that whole era of computers being a new thing, the evolution of systems, and the better graphics, the better sound, I class myself as very, very lucky to have experienced that. It was a very, very magical time, and I suppose it's like a lot of people. You know, my mum and dad used to talk about the 1950s with the music, and the Beatles came along, and it was all like a revolution. And as a kid, I wasn't jealous, but I'm sure my mum and dad would look back then and think they were lucky to live through the coming of music, rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same with computer games. You know, I do deem myself very, very fortunate and blessed to have lived through the very birth of this hobby. And yeah, I do enjoy playing games now, but it's just that it's games. You know, they're not. You don't get the same variety of games. You know, I'm not going to make a sweeping statement and say most games are third person or first person, but most games are first person. You know, when you've played Skyrim, you've played all these games. They're all the same. Different graphics, but ultimately it's the same game. Whereas back in the day, when you had the Spectrum, you had things like Trashman, you had Drop Zone, you had Paradroid, you had Elite, you had the Sentinel, you had Bruce Lee, you had Manic Miner, you had Pipeline. You name it, you had it. You know, there was so much variety on old systems, and now it's, you know, the problem is budgets for games are through the roof, and companies are just not prepared to take a chance. So yeah, I don't feel sorry for them, Stephen, but all I do know is I think I was very lucky and fortunate to have lived through a really, really exciting time when this whole thing all kicked off. Anyway, Stephen, thanks for your question, mate. Wee Bob, just saying enjoyed the waffle. I watched it a few days ago. Usually I wake up on a Saturday morning or something and put it on just in my ears. I forgot to then comment. Anyway, hope life is good. question for next week, as I'm losing the plot as to what videos I have commented on and stuff, I know one of the dogs is called Archie, the only one I can remember, you shouting. Is the other one Hamish? No, the other one's Jax, and they're both sitting there. If you were to rename your dogs after game characters, what would you call them? Give us the first two characters that enter your head for a laugh. One of the first three dogs was called Hudson, after Hudson and Aliens. Would I give them any... Oh, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I've never really... Minor Willie? Nah, my dogs don't look like Minor Willies. The only dog I can think of, oh, and I can't even remember the name of it, it's not Chump. What's it called? It's a dog that's in Grand Theft Auto 5. I think that's quite a good name. Can't remember. Sonic, nah. Crazy Frog, not Crazy Frog, Flappy Bird possibly. Nah, I can't think, Bob. I honestly can't think of any computer games that I would call them. Whizball. Nah, I'm not really coming up with it. Maybe China Miner possibly. I don't know. Sorry, Bob. I'm a bit rubbish at that one. If I come up with anything, if I think anything before the end of the video, I will give you a shout. Next up, failed channel. Let me just expand this. He's got a couple of questions for me. My question for next waffle is, was there any other 8-bit computer you could have been happy owning if you never got a C64? My friend had an Atari 800 and hundreds of pirate game compilations on disc. I think I would have been okay with an Atari. The CPC my best friend owned had good scrolling, fast arcade type games I liked. More strategic like Highway Encounter, which I still remember playing. Staying late after drink. Dark, sorry, I can hardly read this because of the light. Playing into the CPC. What computer would I have liked to own? I mean, back then, if I didn't have a Commodore 64, I don't know, like I said, I wasn't a fan of the Spectrum back then. I would probably have had to say the Atari 800. I mean, I think the Atari 800 is one of the most underrated systems. It was so far ahead of its time, and yeah, it was mega expensive, and that's why it wasn't really popular in the UK. A lot of games, I mean, the tape system wasn't the best. I mean, it was massive in America, but most people in America had disk drives. But yeah, I used to go to the computer club, and I used to get to see some of the games that were out for it, and they were awesome. I mean, there was stuff like all the early American stuff. I mean, Fort Apocalypse is one of my favourite arcade games. All the sort of Synapse software stuff like Seamus. I mean, there was like, what do you call it? There was Blue Max. There was Stealth, which was a really nice kind of, you're flying into the screen. It's kind of 3-dimensional. There were so many awesome games. All the LucasArts games like Rescue and Fractalis, Corona's Rift, the Eidolon, to my mind, they were all much better. International Karate was excellent on the Atari. Drop Zone, that is the version to play. So many good games. So probably the Atari would have been the machine I wanted. It had probably been quite hard to get hold of games because, I mean, nobody else owned one at the time. However, if I was to now that I've owned a Spectrum for quite a long time, if I'd had the knowledge that I've got now about the Spectrum, and I had the love that I've got now for it back in 1983, 84, I'd have been quite happy with the Spectrum. I really would. I mean, I've come to realise that the Spectrum, yeah, it's a completely different bag from the C64. Totally different. But there are some absolutely amazing games in the Spectrum. A lot of like the platformer games, your Manic Miners, your Dynamite Dans, your Pajama-Ramas, all these games, to my mind, they were all better in the Spectrum. And so, like I said, I love the Spectrum to bits now. If I had that love back in the 80s, I would have gladly have got a Spectrum. I'd have still preferred to get a C64, But if I didn't know about the Spectrum like I do now, back in 1985, whenever, I would have probably plumped for the Atari 800, I think. I wasn't a fan of the BBC. Amstrad, I only had one mate that had an Amstrad and he had it for a very short space of time. So, yeah, probably Atari 800 I think would have been the computer of choice had I not got a C64. Question number 2. Going back to your concerns about subs and YouTube channel promotion, what would you say is the point of someone starting from scratch who does know more about... does know about more than NES or SNES or DOS games, going to the effort of making a channel and uploading videos and watch it go nowhere with bugger all views? If nobody will ever see them and people who should be watching them continue to subscribe to watch these knee-jerk clickbait fueled channels, then the YouTube algorithm boxes to continue promoting, YouTube is stagnating and putting people off who might create really good channels. Imagine if someone did a totally awesome, make that the best review video for Super Mario C64 and got just 15 views and maybe 5 subs. Welcome to the YouTube algorithm, as big as failure as millenniums. Yeah, there's a lot in that question there. You know what? As I've kind of learned, over the last few years that quality content does not guarantee people watching your videos. I wish I knew what the secret was. I'm not going to get into the whole sub debate again. I've talked about that to death. I mean, I did do a standalone video a few weeks ago. But there's a lot of amazing channels out there. I mean, Derek Findas, for example, I think he has got a fantastic channel. Yeah, he maybe needs to... And Derek, if you're watching this, mate, and this is not a criticism, if you want to kind of grow your channel, I think what you're probably going to have to think about doing is maybe expanding slightly. I know you've got the Spectrum show, but you might want to think about incorporating, I don't know, other computers, you know. I don't know. I mean, Derek's, I say, his channel is one of my favourites. I'm always in absolute stitches of laughter when I watch it. It's so well put together. It's completely unique, really good. So Derek's, and then again you've got Swifto, my mate Swifto. He does put out some daft videos. I don't mind. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. But then he also puts out some really good videos, and he's got an obscene low number of views and subscribers. So there is really no rhyme or reason how to build up your sub base. What I would always say is try and put out regular content. You've got to. It takes time. I mean, I've been doing this now for 5 years, so in fact 6 years. It'll be 6 years in November, I think it is. Where did the time go? But yeah, you've got to. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of hard work. Just keep doing what you're doing. Make videos that you enjoy making. And just keep your fingers crossed. I mean, by all means, share your channel on social media. I don't really do that, I must admit. I mean, I have a Main Meister channel on Facebook, which I do... No, in fact, I don't really, no, very rarely mention videos on that. The only social media that I use to promote my videos is Twitter. I've got a thing set up, so as soon as I make a video live, it tweets. But that is it, that's the only thing. But getting back to what you're saying, Field Channel, yeah, there's always going to be cracking channels that may never ever get a big audience. And the sad thing is, these people may end up just giving up. Conversely, you see some channels who've got a lot of subscribers, they might put out very little content. I'm not going to say who I'm talking about. There's one channel in particular who has got an obscene amount of subscribers, yet they put out very little content. And they have Patreon. Now I think that's wrong, because at the end of the day, this person is taking money from people to make content, and considering they are a full-time YouTuber, their output is extremely low, to say the least. I do this on top of a full-time job, and I try and get out 4 or 5 channels a week. 5 channels a week, 5 videos a week. So yeah, there's cracking channels out there with low subs, low audience. Then there's also some not so good ones who have big numbers. Go figure. As Failed Channel says, it's all to do with algorithms, and if anybody can figure them out, let me know. So anyway, listen buddy, thanks for your questions, mate. Ye Olde Gamer Steve on Nintendo customer service. Well, I've used it once when my original Switch died. I sent it off to them and it was over 6 weeks before I got a replacement, and none of my saved games were copied onto the replacement, so I lost them all. Was not impressed. I've never really had any dealings with Nintendo customer service, Steve. I did have dealings with Xbox or Microsoft when I had multiple Red Ring of Deaths 360s, and I wasn't overly impressed with their service at all. For the Friday Waffle, this is from Down the Rabbit Hole, my mate Kev. Hi Alan, I confess I am getting frustrated at this Electronic Arts and Nintendo situation, and I'm sorry my first question is a big one. To cut a long story short, EA say they won't make games for the Switch because they don't think their audience will play EA games on that console. The absurd thing is, EA only made 4 games for the Switch and 2 of them were bad FIFA titles. So how could they know if other games would be more successful if that's what they're measuring by? However, my biggest problem is not with EA nor Nintendo. As you know, I don't have a Switch, but instead my frustration is with video game journalists who are making up excuses for them. Instead of pointing directly at the fact that EA just want all their games to be full of loot boxes and Nintendo's online system is terrible for that, I keep hearing people online rationalising that EA might be right and most households have a Switch and either a PS4 or an Xbox. What's your opinion on this choice by EA not to make games for the Switch, and how do you feel about other video companies, video game apologists? I wasn't like, as you probably know Kevin, I generally don't keep up to date with the news and other systems, so EA have decided to not make any, so they're not going to be making any more games. That's quite sad. It's sad because I've got to say the Switch has turned into a really, really good system. It really has. I mean, granted it's probably not as powerful, graphic wise, whatever, as say the PlayStation 4, Expo and whatever it is. But the fact that it's portable and it looks amazing both on the handheld and on the big TV when it's plugged into the sort of cradle thing, and it's selling really well. I mean, there's a lot of households out there. You're probably your more casual gamers. Now, casual gamers are the people that buy FIFA, that buy Electronic Arts. So I think it's a bit of a, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot a wee bit if they're not going to make games for the Switch. Personally, does it bother me? No, it doesn't really. I couldn't actually tell you. Well, I was going to say I couldn't tell you the last time I bought an EA game. That game, A Way Out, which I was talking about recently, that was an EA game. But I've not bought a FIFA game. I've not bought an EA sports game for a long time. So personally, it doesn't bother me, Kev. But I can understand why people would get frustrated. Why wouldn't you want to bring games out for the Switch? At the end of the day, mate, it all comes down to money. If a company is not making enough money, they will not support it, and that's always been the way. Unfortunately, with the Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, with the the Nintendo Wii U, very few companies supported it. In the scale of what other companies were, other system support were getting. Nintendo have always been they've always been a bit awkward to work for, I think. And so they don't get the same support that other mainstream consoles get. But yeah, I do think it's a bit silly if EA are going to no longer support the Switch. Second question, also a little long. I am thinking of doing a video response about how arcades died back in the 80s. But I don't know much about the UK experience. Were there a lot of arcades in the UK back then? I know you all bypassed the video game crash of 1983, but I'm just curious how places like Blackpool changed from big video game venues to what they have become today. Yeah, the UK, not as big as America obviously, but the UK had an awful lot. Excuse me, I'm going to have a cup of tea, which I made myself. The UK had a really, really bludgeoning. That's the wrong word to use. What's the phrase? Hang on, let me think while I drink my tea. The UK arcade scene was massive in the 80s. Probably from the early 80s when Space Invaders came out, and obviously, right up till, I don't know when it would be, I don't know, maybe about 1995, something like that, when the sort of, the PlayStation came along. But yeah, the arcades were massive. It was generally seaside towns. I mean, Blackpool is the most obvious one, but there was so many, holiday resorts. Before people went to Spain or went abroad on holiday, people used to go to these seaside places. So you had places like Blackpool, Morecambe, Margate. Oh, I can't even think. There were so many. Basically, any of the big towns around the British coast had an arcade. And so they were massive. London had lots of arcades as well. Unfortunately, where I stayed, I lived in sort of like central Scotland. There weren't so many. We didn't have any big arcades. I had to go into Edinburgh to get access to all the latest games. But it was absolutely massive. But I always think the death knell of the arcade kind of hit about, I don't know, 95, 96. The PlayStation came out, and to my mind, that was when a machine came out that was suddenly able to play arcade games. I mean, Ridge Racer, when I saw Ridge Racer on the PlayStation, I was just amazed at how accurate it was. Yeah, playing it side by side, it's not 100% accurate, but it was a revelation. And as even like the 16-bit, I mean, it was possibly dying even when the 16-bit machines came out, sort of like, I don't know, the early 90s. Because here was machines, we could have like the Commodore Amiga. You were almost getting arcade perfect. I'm trying to think of what games. Rodland, Bubble Bobble. There was lots of cracking arcade games that were almost arcade perfect. Alright, they still lacked the sort of grunt and the oomph required for stuff like Outrun, as we know. I mean, Outrun on the home versions was diabolical. But when PlayStation came along, you started to get compilations, and you started to get, arcade perfect Outruns and Commando, and we got to play all these arcade games on the home systems. And I think at that point, people stopped going to arcades because they were basically playing arcade perfect games at home. So why would people want to go to the arcades? So I think that's what happened, Kevin. And then eventually, all the video games stopped getting made. I mean, I'm trying to think what would be some of the last games. I mean, I was going to say like Metal Slug. I think there was still some of the later kind of Street Fighter games, Street Fighter 4. Then the Dance Dance Revolution games became quite popular. But that was it. Yeah, I would reckon probably in the mid-90s, the arcades basically died on their arse as far as video games went. It just became dance machines, coin grabbers, basically what they are now, and unfortunately I don't think we're ever going to see the arcades becoming popular with video games again, because we've got systems now that we can play amazing games at home. And the point was, before, when arcades were big, it's because, yeah, by all means you could play Outrun in the Spectrum, but you knew you weren't getting the proper experience. If you wanted to get the proper experience, you went into the arcades. And that's why arcades became so successful. But once the home machines caught up, the arcades died in their arse. And unfortunately, Kev, as we know, it's all about making money. fortunately, I mean, probably now, if you went around in the early 80s, this is quite a good time to be alive, because you've got wonderful places like Arcade Club. I think they've got two. They've got one in Leeds and they've got one in Manchester. So plus we've got all these like play events as well. So we're now getting to experience the arcades again, which is great, albeit only once every 6 months. But yeah, what are if I'm just thinking, Kev, if you're wanting me to do a little video, you want to include it in your VR, just give me a shout, mate. I don't mind if you don't want me to do it. Don't. I won't be offended if you don't. But if you wanted me to maybe do my own take on the UK arcades, just give me a shout, mate, and I will happily do that. So yeah, and finally, do you ever game in the morning? I heard some guys on a podcast say that their favourite time to play video games is in the morning, but I'm just too drowsy. Nah, I can't say I do, Kevin. I mean, I'm occasionally, maybe in the weekend, if I'm not up too much, I will maybe, I'll take the opportunity to make some videos, but I generally don't, I don't generally game in the morning. If I'm going to play a video game, it will probably be at night time, I would say. So anyway, Kev, listen, mate, thank you as always for your excellent questions. And my mate GTB Films, Alan, had another try of Frenzy after you mentioned it. Seems a bit more unfair than Berserk, with the enemies shooting through walls and their shots bouncing. On the other hand, you can kill Evil Otto, although he's immediately replaced by a faster version. I got used to the bouncing shots, they don't reflect back exactly. The more they move up a few pixels. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Frenzy, Alan. It might be an alright game if you get used to it, but I'm going to stick with Berserk. Comment there. I don't think... Yeah, listen guys, that is it. And there's not any other questions. Quite a low amount of questions. What I would ask you, please... I mean, I do get quite a few views on my waffle, so if you watch the waffle and there's something you want to hear me talk about, please put it in the comments down below. I do need your questions to keep this thing going. I mean, quite a few years ago, I'd basically reached the end point with the Friday Waffle. I had nothing to talk about. Maybe because I do so many live waffles or whatever, I've kind of ran out of stuff, so I do need your questions. It doesn't even have to be questions. It could even just be, I don't know, 8-bit machines. What's your favourite? Tell me the 10 worst 8-bit games. Anything like that at all. Please do stick the questions down below. But anyway, like I says, guys, I'm really tired. I think I'm going to have to go and get an early night. So I'm going to draw this video to a close. I have got some excellent videos, and I don't mean because I'm good, I'm talking about my guests. Some entertaining videos coming out next week. I have got the Sean Southern and Andrew Morris Magnetic Fields, that will be coming out next week. And I've got my mate Lacosa and myself doing a... Yeah, we've done a top 20, but I'm not going to tell you what the top 20 is. I will be doing more videos with him. I think we're actually planning to do another one next Thursday. I'll also be sitting down with my good mate Lawn Boys Post probably next week. We'll probably do another Alan Dave Talk Bollocks. And I'm also hoping to get involved with Novabug. I was talking to him last night and he's got a few ideas for a video, and I was giving him a few thoughts of my own. So hopefully we're going to be getting together at some point, maybe including Dave as well on Boys Post, to do a video. So anyway guys, it just remains for me to say I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and as always, thank you very much for watching.